Oh, Davina's here. Oh. That is incredible story. Incredible story.
What are the chances of that? And, you know, we were talking in the break about sliding doors moments in life. And the researcher, that these two letters arrived in the same series. Gosh. And the same researcher, and there are 4 or 5 researchers on this show, read both of the applications.
Wow.
And so could see the similarities.
Yeah.
If the same researcher hadn't read the application, they may not have noticed.
That is incredible, isn't it?
And neither of them had any idea at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. How on earth, though, when you're talking to them, and it's so emotional, Davina, how do you keep it together, or do you keep it together?
No, I do.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Lorraine, that when you're talking to somebody who's very emotional, and you do it a lot, that the worst thing in the world would be if that emotional person had to go, oh, Lorraine, are you all right?
Exactly.
So bad. Of course. So I know, I mean, sometimes I'm hurting myself under the table.
Do you do that?
I hurt myself.
I do that too. Yes.
So I don't feel anything. But what I usually do is when I'm at home and I read through the piece and I do all the revision and I'm learning her story and then I'm learning the person that we found or whatever, the whole story. I read it and I sob at the computer and then I tell my husband and I sob while I'm telling him and then he said this to her. And then by the time I get there, I know their story so well that it's taken... I can step back from it a little bit and then I'm just worried about them. And with a story like Cliff's, it was terribly complicated and I didn't want to overwhelm him with too much information because I'm thinking, you're looking for a mother.
Yes.
And I'm telling you something completely different, which is going to take a while. You could see his face.
He was going, he was thinking,
right. So you're not telling me about a mother. What are you telling? Hang on a minute. So it takes a while to... We had an amazing story with a woman who was looking for her brother and I had a really huge piece of information that I had to tell her that was quite extraordinary and extraordinary, you know, and I had to deliver it so slowly, but she took it so beautifully, brilliantly. Because her brother was a transgender woman and felt that he'd been born a woman into a man's body. And so she found out that, you know, she wasn't looking for a brother, it was a sister.
It was a sister?
But she was brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, she was amazing about it. She went, oh, I've always wanted a sister.
Oh, how lovely.
And so, obviously, to Debbie, that was a very important... you know, obviously, she was terribly frightened about how her sister would react.
God, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's life-affirming. I know, you do get goosebumps. But you do when you're watching the show as well. And it is life-affirming. It's beautifully done. And it's been a massive success.
You know, it touches on things that we all really care about.
What's the reason behind that and why does that happen? And people are searching and it's lovely when you can give them
and also, you know, just we had a story with a lady called Samantha who was looking for her dad, and sadly her dad had passed away, which is always absolutely just the worst news you can deliver to somebody because they've often been looking for years and years and years. But we reunited her with her uncle and her cousins.
Right.
In another country, so they had a slight sort of language barrier. And I thought, oh, I wonder if it's going to be as impactful not meeting. But actually, it was incredible because they were looking at each other. Sam was looking at her uncle, and he was looking at her like saying, can I see my brother in you? It was terribly moving. Yeah. And then they went to his grave, and she was able to sort of spend a moment at her father's grave. I mean, it's such a joy. And also... I mean, I know I'm waxing lyrical about this show, but the other thing that I love about it is that historically it's so interesting. You know, one of the shows is done in El Salvador, and at the time there was a civil war in El Salvador, and it was about a nun and a missionary, and the churches got hit. And I didn't know any of this. I learned all of this from doing the show, so it's really interesting.
Do you manage to sort of not keep in touch with people or to see how their stories develop or to see how they go all the time?
I mean, I literally give my number to everybody and I say, I know you're not going to call me because you'll be embarrassed, but any kind of text, just let me know how you're doing. And at Christmas, Nikki and I get a flurry of kind of pictures. Here we are with our family. And sometimes things don't work out. Sometimes things are a bit difficult and they have a fallout or whatever. But we do like to keep in touch with people. we love it when they keep in touch with us too.
No, it is fantastic. And, you know, telly's great and we love it and it's all fantastic, but it's not often that you do a programme like that that really, really changes people's lives completely.
And I think also, you know, that's dealt with in such a lovely way, because there's not one moment, you know, sometimes when you watch TV and you have to cross your legs, when you're like, oh my God, I don't know if I can like, it's like so embarrassing. Oh no, I'm going to have to put a cushion over my head. What I love about this show is that when I watch it, sometimes we are dealing with things that are really sensitive or could be sensational, but they're not dealt with like that at all. It's dealt with in a really respectful manner, and I'm hoping that's why people keep applying. You know, that's why they keep trusting us with their stories.
With total respect. Yeah. That's the thing. Do you know what? I could talk to you all day.
No, it's not over, Lorraine.
It is over. And we had so much more to talk about, but we got really. But we will definitely be watching. And congratulations to all involved.
I love you.
Love you back.
And you look amazing. Keep doing what you're doing, Lorraine.
You too.